for real now. Though we're not connected to Facebook, I'm not too worried about that. There may be a slight lag, but whatever. We'll make it work. It's, I think, the video processing or whatever. Anyway, now we're really live. I'm excited to see you guys. I may miss tomorrow. I probably will, or we'll do a different version tomorrow. Maybe I'll just check in very briefly. But I have some announcements to make that are developing, and that's going to change things tomorrow morning. So we'll go through that when you guys go get in here and all that stuff. I'm going to give it time for the announcement to go out in the Discord and all that other good jazz. So we'll see what happens in the meantime. Anyway, I'm a little... Man, I slept so much last night, and I had crazy dreams all night. And the recurrent theme in my dream was the number 76, that years ending with the number 76 were something to pay attention to. And of course, 1776 was when the country was founded. I, by the way, do not think these were like prophetic, inspired dreams. I think they were just crazy fucking dreams. I didn't smoke weed before I went to bed. That's what I think. But we're looking at years ending in 76. So major events, maybe. So 1776, of course, American Revolution. Let's see what 1876 was, because that's like a little after the Civil War. Well, it's August 1st, 1876, Colorado became a state. That's important to me. Let's see, what did Thomas Edison do in 1876? That looks like it's maybe important. Wyatt Earp. No, that's not important. Nah. Patent for the telephone. Okay. That's pretty important. I don't know if I'm sold, though. Thomas Edison gets a patent for the mimeograph. People getting patents doesn't seem like that big a deal. Indecisive presidential election. New president not decided for a year. That's interesting. Okay. 1870. Let's try 1976. Hey, this is 5 years before I was born, so I feel like I would have known, but maybe there were major riots or something. I don't know. Axe murder. Sweet. I mean, not sweet. I don't see anything that I'm like, well, that is radical. Oh, radically charged riot in Pensacola, Florida. That's pretty interesting. No. I don't know. Whoa. Return of the $2 bill. It's out of circulation for a while. Came back. That's interesting. I don't know, but none of these really seem like world-changing. I think my dream was just a crazy dream. I don't think the 76 is now. Though I did realize that I've never lived through a year that ends in 76, right? I was born in 81. So I may never live through a year that ends in 76. In fact, it may be the year I die. And that would be an interesting thing to get in my dream. Shout out to our YouTube viewer. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully the auto post will go out in Discord shortly, and we will have the Discord community in the mix with us. It hasn't happened yet. I can see that. So usually I think it waits for about 5 minutes. I don't want to rush it. Hey, Hearthsoma. Cool. Good to see you. Awesome. Yeah, I was just talking about the crazy dream I had last night, in which years that ended with the number 76 were especially important. And I was reflecting on the fact that I had never lived through one of those, and that perhaps I never will. Because the next 76, 2076, I'll be 95 years old. Maybe I die then. Wouldn't that be fucking interesting? So it's on recording now. If I die in 2076, someone do me a favor. Please dig up this recording. Play it at my funeral for everybody. Curly Q, good morning and welcome. I hate that it doesn't show me who's actually here, because I would like to welcome you as you enter. But I feel like a bad host. So, we'll wait for a couple more heads to get in the mix here. And when you do, we will catch up on some updates, current events, and then we'll just dive into the talk for today. Updates, current events is probably a very, very bold and ambitious term for them. Just updates on shipping. You guys know I had offered the St. Benedict's medal and the Santo Nino medal, and I felt I feel very good about offering those. That said, when I was like, well, I should just pack these up and get them ready to ship, something told me, nope, you don't get to do that. Snow off the bluff. Good morning. And when I sat with it more, I was like, yeah, I know that there's a shrine and I need to go to the shrine and leave an offering if I'm going to offer the medals. Like, whatever. I leave offerings in my temple, but that is what it is. It doesn't show that much effort. It's just money. So there is a proper 28-mile pilgrimage for Santo Niño. It's a walked pilgrimage. Unfortunately, it's on the highway. It's the main highway. And you're supposed to, like, if you're going to do it, you do it at the same time so you can clear it with the police and all this shit so you're not just walking on the highway. So I can't. It's not realistic for me to try to do that tonight. So, well, I guess tonight, right? The big announcement is I'm going to drive down to Chimayo. It's still a bit of a pilgrimage of a drive. It's 6.5 hours each way. But I'll drive down to Chimayo, New Mexico this afternoon. Kind of just get everything in order. Hopefully hit the road, miss the rush hour traffic. I should arrive tonight. Check into my hotel. I will probably go to the shrine tonight to collect dirt, and then we'll be go. They are only open 9 to 5, so then I'll be back there at 5 a.m. To offer a candle inside and offer prayers and all that. A full round of prayers. I have like 10 pages of prayers. I pray for about an hour or so. So I might be there when we go live. I might just go live from there. There is a form to get permission to film inside there, which I will bring with my donation. If they permit it, fantastic, I'll go live. If they don't permit it, it's okay. So we see what we see. On the way back tomorrow, I'm going to go down there tonight, get the dirt, go in for the morning for prayers. We get a meal, hopefully maybe speak with the father of the church, because that region is Chimayo is very interesting. Obviously the cult of Santo Niño is very interesting, but this is also the location of the Hermanos de Sangre, the Brothers of Blood, what's the word? Penitentes, which were also in southern Colorado. I've become very interested in their history and their practices as I've gone down there. Not least because they have a giant female, recognized female saint who is a skeleton. Pretty interesting. That's not Catholicism. So, very echoes of Santa Muerte, maybe. I know Andrew Chestnut, who's a fucking academic, is very quick to say, "Oh, it must be the same cult." I'm not fucking ready to say anything like that. I say maybe. We'll go see. Certainly, Santo Niño, it came to New Mexico it was all New Spain, right? Like, it came over from Spain. So maybe there's a common source on this female skeleton personage that the penitentes are into. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see even if the priest will tell me about it, if I can see anything about her down there. So that's the plan. I should leave, again, hopefully this afternoon, not too late. I should arrive in New Mexico around 9 or 10, not too late. Check into the hotel, and then bing, bing. Smooth sailing, won't be exhausted for tomorrow, the drive. I know that's something many, 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 many people have brought up to me. Is like, dude, why are you driving when you're exhausted? You have higher obligations, and I believe that is correct, and I'm committed to not trying to do that shit anymore. So I want you guys to know I'm not doing that. Stream chat. Who's here? Hurley-Q, Hearthsoma, Snow Off the Bluff, Sound Alerts. There's others here, but it's just not showing you guys to me yet, which is cool. So on the way back from Santo Niño's church, it's not the Church of St. Benedict, but it is a St. Benedict's Catholic Church. It's the only one anywhere in this region. So I will stop there on the way back. My understanding is that if I can meet with the priest of that church, he's a very, very, very devout, old school Catholic priest. I will have him bless the medals if I can. Same with the Santo Niño Church. If I can get with the priest and have him put his blessing on the medals, I will. If not, you guys are stuck with mine. Hopefully it'll be good enough. But that's the plan. And then I'll be back here with all the medals on Thursday. I do have new shoes I bought for Santo Niño, new kids sandals, and I have candles, but I got to get stuff for St. Benedict before I go. And if anyone wants like petitions or whatever while I'm there, it's probably a good time to tell me. Yeah. Oh, hey, Lady Stardust. It's good to see you. I missed you. Last week. I was wondering if you were on the road. So with all that said, schedule's gonna be a little weird next 24 hours ish, right? Like I may miss tomorrow's morning. I may do it from the road. I may do it from the Chapel of Santo Niño. I'm just trying to get it all done. As I said to my wife this morning, I'm trying to get it all done so I can fulfill the orders and do it with integrity, because that's what people want. So that's what I'm trying to do it all. That means, in terms of orders, that Santa Muerte incense and Return of the Queen oil are going to get blended, prepared, finished on Thursday. I had made some of the Santa incense, packed it. I need to make another batch, mix it all together, So the Santa incense should all go out Friday of this week. The metals should all go out Thursday of this week. The Return of the Queen, I'm going to let it steep over the weekend. I'm going to let it cook a little. It could go out Friday, but we're looking probably Monday, Tuesday for me to feel like, okay, that's good. That's ready to go out. So that will be that. I'm trying to think if there's any other order stuff. Oh, the Michael books. Like I said, I don't know. Those come from the printer, just like the Money 2020. The Cash Flow Conjures. Though from what I understand, those Cash Flow Conjures are landing. I'm seeing pictures. I'm seeing videos. I'm seeing people get them. If you haven't gotten yours, please let me know, so I can contact the printer and see like what the deal is. We get shipping notifications, so we just assume that when we get those, everything's cool from that point on. And as long as we've gotten a shipping notification, we don't look into it. And I honestly never click the tracking. So if for whatever reason you've ordered Cash Flow Conjure, it hasn't shown up, let me know. And then we'll get in touch with them and we'll iron all that out. So with the books in general, I'm going to ask you to indulge us and be patient. This is the only way we can do this without... The last book I wrote, I had to order fucking 5,000 copies of, and I still have like 2,500 of them. And they're just like clogging up my house. So we try to figure out a way to do that where I don't need to get a private run printed and stock them. And that's this kind of print on demand format, which is when those books are not printed until you order. So there's only as much printed as you order. So that's pretty cool because there's no bazillions of copies floating around out there. That's something a lot of the books in our collection are print on demand, right? Specialized books where like, there's not 100 of those on the shelf somewhere. You will not run into it by accident. You need to know about it, want it, and then you get to own a copy of it. And then you can give it to whomever you want, of course. So that's the model we're using. There are a couple weeks of fulfillment delays, and that is what we're learning, and I do apologize for that. But we're going to work with what we can to try to cause the minimum inconvenience and the maximum benefit to everyone, as with everything we do. So with that said, that should bring us up to date on all the orders. Players Bay Rum. That's the one I forgot. That Bay Rum is going to ship... fuck, I gotta go downstairs and look. I think that is scheduled to ship Monday or Tuesday. As I said losing last week to a surprise visit. Very grateful to have my father-in-law. It was awesome to hear the family history that he shared with my mom, because they were able to go back until like the 1850s with photographs and even earlier with like documents, which was awesome. But set us back about a week, which is not... The whole point was to not ever be back ordered again. It's very stressful to me, especially to leave town when I'm back ordered. It is incredibly stressful. So as always, I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your understanding. I appreciate all that good jazz. Let's dive into today's lecture. That's enough. Let me pull this up. Holy fuck, I got a lot of windows open. Just so you guys can see how many tabs I got open, because it's fun. Let me show you guys how many... I have 3 browser windows open. This is one of them. It's about how it goes, man. Fuck. My brain looks the exact same way, too, right? So, I don't know. I'm almost at the point where it won't show me tabs anymore. It just shows me the angry face or whatever. I think a few more tabs and I'll be there. Is there any YouTube up here? No, none of this is YouTube. That's what's crazy. And these are all like I'm not embarrassed to show you. Angels, and then I was like, okay, this is all bullshit. I need to go right in the Bible, right? So then you see me looking up the words in the Bible. Here's our chats. Perfect. Found them. I knew if I dug. So we're on part 4 actually. Here, we finished part 3 yesterday. So I'm gonna go ahead and cue it up. Make sure all the audio's groovy. I think it should still be on the right channel. Let's see. I used to have a browser plugin that was specifically for doing your research
We're gonna continue
doing
with
your
the fourth
research
part
and then like
of
saving
our
tabs. Oh, shit, I
series.
jumped right into it. All right, let me get the headphones so I can do this. But that was like I was like Opera, some old-fashioned browser. Now, whatever, we have memory, so we get, the computers have memory, right? So we get fucking sloppy. You just leave open a gazillion. There's one browser. Like I said, there's multiple browsers right now. And God forbid anyone should close these, because it's research in progress. And by the way, before it was browsers, it was books. However many fucking tabs that is. I don't know, 30 tabs. I would have 30 books laying open, stacked on top of each other, and just all over the place. So thankfully, now we have the technology to keep it all so I can still walk around. All right, here we go.
It's funny how I thought in the beginning it will be a class. Now I see it's going to be turning into a 4-season episodes series. So, Baruch Hashem, it's good news. It means there's a lot what to say. So, before we start, a very quick announcement. Part 1 and Part 2 went directly on YouTube. Part 3 went a very short part on YouTube, and then the rest went on atzmut.com. And the reason we did that is because I see that in the classes I get carried away a little bit, and I start blabbing all sorts of things that I didn't plan. So for the safety of the video and the channel and everything else, then better not to have it on a platform like YouTube, because if I'll say something they don't like, they're going to remove the video. So, and maybe even block me like last time, or even worse, take the whole channel down. So last time what happened is that we put the beginning of Part 3 on YouTube, and then it stopped after like 10 minutes or whatever, and it was saying all the video, go to Atzmut to watch it. So we got a few hundred emails, hey, why you did such a short, where's the long version? Well, if you look on the screen, you'll see the link, and if you listen to me, you'll hear me saying, go and see it on Atzmut. And so we got a few hundred comments, why are you putting a short version, where's the long version? So I'm already telling the viewers, the long version will not be on YouTube. So look on the screen, look underneath the screen, look in the description, it's to the link where it's going to be. Now then, a lot of people are telling, we got a few hundred emails, I looked on Atzmut, I couldn't find it. So the link is on the video. For the ones here, it's atzmut.com/Erev Rav. Don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. Atzmut.com, and go to atzmut.com, not atzmut.org. Atzmut.org is a different website. It's on atzmut.com/Erev Rav, or just search in the search box Erev Rav, it will pop up. And all the long versions will go on Atzmut, and I'm only doing that because as I see how it's going, I just threw as a bone to a dog about the Israeli flag, and we got like 5,000 emails. Most of them are tell me more. Of course, we got a few like, how dare you talk about the Israeli flag, which, as I said before, not once and not twice, I can really care less what people have what to say. So I am going to I think I'm going to enclose into this series, maybe we'll do a class or 2 or 3 or 5 about the entire foundation of Zionism, because people think that Zionism is something that is pro-Israel and pro the Torah. And even most Israelis don't even know that Zionism has nothing to do with the Torah. Zionism is against the Torah. Zionism is against the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Most Israelis don't know that. They get very offended. A lot of Americans or North Americans, Europeans, they say, I'm Zionist. No, you're not. You are pro-Israel. You love Israel. You are a Jew. You are not a Zionist. Don't call yourself a Zionist. Don't associate yourself with Zionism, because Zionism is saying, in other words, I'm against the Torah. I'm against God. I don't want to have God in my life. So that's what people don't understand, and it's not about stepping on people's toes, it's about waking people up. And a lot of people are not ready to hear it, which is fine. And, sometimes you knock hard, people will wake up. So we will throw a few classes in the series about Zionism, where it started, where it originated, who started, how is that came about, how Zionism is against God, where do you see all this? So therefore, I don't want to put these videos on a platform like YouTube, because sometimes it's the actual viewers that go and report to YouTube what the video is about. Somebody sent me not too long ago this beautiful picture. You see a lion with his nails out. He's like in a pursuit. His fangs are out, and he's running after, like, I don't know, like a deer or something. And the deer is like frantic, and the lion is behind about to grab him, and it says, not all your followers are your fan. So, and I loved it. I put it on my screen because it's true. Not all your followers are your fans. A lot of your followers are looking to say something that I can nail you down with it. Especially with me, I know a lot of individuals that are looking at my classes waiting that I will stumble and say something, that they can use it against me somehow. So the point is that I don't want these videos going on a platform like YouTube. It's going to go on a smooth, and I can already tell you we're going to talk about a lot of interesting things, because I wanted to make a quick class, a little bit about the Erev Rav, so people have some idea, but I see that there's a lot more to say, and it really, I'm not joking, it might take us another 10, 20 classes, whatever it is. It's nice, it's good classes, it's good to know, and the material is interesting, and mainly it's important. People should know who they're dealing with. People should know what's going on in this world, that it's not going to come as a surprise. And of course, there are the people who live in denial, and they choose to go with the mainstream. And as the famous quote in the movie Matrix, you take the red pill, I'll show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. But you want to take the blue pill, no problem, go to sleep, you'll wake up, believe what you want to believe. Follow the mainstream, follow the media feeds you, follow what Google and Netflix and Facebook and what they feed you, live a lie, and whatever. As long as you're happy with that, that's fine. Don't judge me, I won't judge you, but if you're interested in opening your eyes, then I'm welcoming you to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. And it's interesting how only in the last year people are starting to be aware. You know, when I said secretly 10 years ago, talking about New World Order, Illuminati, people thought I'm nuts. I would say there's levels in the planet, there's civilizations living under the ground. People looked at me like,
well, we're gonna still say that maybe some of this stuff is not stuff we. I will say this: the reason I'm sharing this video with you guys, or this lengthy series of videos, is not to convince you of the Illuminati, but because this is all from the Zohar. When he actually gets to reading from the Zohar, so this is like the heart of esotericism. Because when you get into Western esotericism, whether it's the Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, Theosophists, Madame Blavatsky, all that stuff, they're all quoting secondhand, third-hand sometimes from the Zohar. So these ideas, you're like, oh shit, I've heard something like this. I kind of recognized this. It's all from this source text, which he's going to give us. The reason specifically, he's talking about the Erev Rav here, the mixed multitude that went out of Egypt with the Israelites, which is interesting because that leads to who's controlling the world, conspiracy theory, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, that's why the tie-in is. But we will definitely look at more of his videos on Kabbalah, on the Zohar, on things in general. He will, and as he's winding into it here, once he starts giving the background, he starts with a recap. I will dive in. I will kind of recap around his recap, of course, translate the Hebrew and the Aramaic, all that good jazz. Then he'll go into, for those who've studied with me, traditional Jewish pedagogy, where he'll read a clause of a sentence in Aramaic. He will translate that to English. He may give commentary on that, and then he'll read the next clause of the sentence. So it'll take about 15 minutes to go through each sentence, and he'll be filling in with the commentaries and stuff like that in the mix. So with that kind of as an intro for maybe, I see we have more folks than usually join us. So, that's what we're watching here.
wow, I see the effect of the drugs never wore off. You're still high, huh? So the point is that there's a lot more interesting information. Happily, I'm very happy to see that a lot of people are starting to be thirsty. Give me, I want to hear more. Just today I ran into somebody who on the surface I thought he's not the type of individual that is aware of what's going on. He started telling me and asking me, what do I think about, how they're planning to have a fake alien invasion and an alien attack on Earth. And I was shocked that he's asking me.
All right, I'm just going to fill you, just so this makes sense. The whole idea is that the aliens are not aliens. They're not from other planets. They live in the Earth and they live in the ocean. And it's a whole thing. I'm not getting into it. I'm not saying that I believe in it. I'm not saying that I don't believe in it, actually. I find it much more plausible than space aliens. But nonetheless, that's what he's talking about here.
And I was like, wow, in my mind, I was like, I didn't think that this guy is like so learned and into it, but we're up for a lot of surprises. I think a smart person wants to know what is waiting for him and not to stick your head in the ground, so I know how to prepare myself. If I have to prepare myself for the upcoming events, then if I ignore the reality and live in some la-la land, which is unfortunately what happened to many Jews 80 years ago, 90 years ago, they chose to ignore what's going on, but people didn't know that Hitler is a psychopath. Everybody knew that, just most people chose to put their head in the ground. In 1938, Hitler Rimach Shimo stood
Hitler, may his name be destroyed, his name be cursed.
On a podium and says that we're going to annihilate the Jews. They are the problem of the world. What more do you want? A more clearer message than that? And I don't know how people didn't just pack their bags and left. Could be that's what's going on right now. It was very hard to already pack up and leave. But as they say, the writing is on the wall. Read it clear, prepare yourself the right way, and if you don't, we'll still be friends. I'm not going to dislike you. With that said, the longer versions will go on atzmut.com/Erev Rav, or follow whatever messages we put there, because we might put it on a different page to cover our tracks. Anyways, with that said, let's go straight into the text, and with a very short recap. I'm not going to repeat what we spoke in the last 3 classes. We're just going to repeat that there are 5 types of Erev Rav. The first one was the Amalek, which we explained briefly, that these are all the rulers and the leaders of the world. End of story. You're not going to find a ruler or a leader that is not part of Amalek. You should see the picture of the new Israeli government that they formed, the new Israeli government, how they're all sitting there with their, like, what do you think, you're kidding? But anyways, people don't like hearing it.
So Amalek is mentioned in the scripture as it's like the perpetual nuisance of the children of Israel, right? They show up again and again, and they attack from the rear, and they attack the women and the children, right? It's this tribe. So it's said in the Zohar, it's said in the oral tradition. There we go. It's said in the oral tradition that Amalek is not stamped out, that the Zohar contains a lot of spiritual understandings that are not included in the text of the Bible, such as reincarnation, the mechanisms of reincarnation, all the shit I'm obsessed with, right? Like the how does it work? That's all in the Zohar, okay? That's where I can kind of get that way of thinking, maybe. So the idea is that Amalek then reincarnates, and these are the group of people who people would call the Illuminati, whatever, the evil people who rule the world with strength and power and cruelty and are deceptive and are two-faced. They say those are the reincarnated souls of Amalek.
But, as they say, אותה גברת בשינוי אדרת, same lady with a different dress. And it doesn't mean they're all Erev Rav, but could be that a lot of them are controlled by the Erev Rav. Either they're bought with a lot of money, which money, as they say, money talks and something else walks. So money that moves a lot of things in this world. Put a big sum of money on the table, you'll see how a lot of things start changing. So a lot of leaders, they might not be direct Erev Rav, but they're controlled by the Erev Rav. That's it. And if it's not with bribes and money, it can be with threatening, can be with many other things. If they want to put somebody down, if somebody doesn't dance to their tune, then all it takes is to take that individual to Epstein's Island and have some nice footage of the individual and tell them, if you're not going to comply, this is going to go online. And suddenly everything works in a completely different way. Needless to say, how they frame people with murder, with all sorts of things that they can ruin a person. Exactly what they did to the president of Israel, Katsav. They framed him, they took a girl, you know, he was charged with rape. He didn't rape her. It's always nonsense. It was just to bring him down because he didn't go according to the line. Now, could very much be. I don't know all the information. Now, he's a leader. He was the president of Israel. Is he Erev Rav? Maybe he's just controlled by the Erev Rav. And when he decided not to go in the line that they said, okay, no problem. We'll send you a nice girl. We'll frame you that you raped her. Now you're going to be a rapist. You're going to be mocked and laughed upon everywhere you go. You're going to end up in jail, and this is what happened. And you know how many leaders and celebrities, they had to go through something like this, to be mocked, to be ridiculed. Now what you going to do with that? And that was all framed. Same thing with Ariel Sharon. Again, we're not going to dissect too many things, but Ariel Sharon, as I said before, he was a general in the Israeli army. He was a prime minister. And I said it as a side note. He wasn't even Jewish. His mother's not Jewish. His mother's a Polish Gentile. His father's Jewish. He wasn't even Jewish, which is irrelevant. He was good to the country, to the land. He did many good things, but he also did a few bad things. But when it came to the Itnatkut, when they separated Gush Katif, and they removed thousands of families violently.
So he's talking about Israeli politics right now. Those terms refer to when they move people out of the settlements. Ariel Sharon's an interesting case in Israeli politics too, because he was killed supposedly with pulsa denura, with a Kabbalistic curse, the lashes of fire. So it's interesting.
And by the way, most Israelis don't even know. It wasn't even the Israeli army who did it. The people who were forced and brutally removed from there said it was not even Israeli soldiers. There were Russians and Ukrainians. They were all talking Russian there. And they came and brutally beat everybody up. Whether it's FEMA soldiers, it's irrelevant. It wasn't Israeli soldiers that actually did that, because they wouldn't get the Israeli soldiers to do that. But anyways, and this is testimonies from people who were physically removed, not some theory. But Ariel Sharon, he was the prime minister at the time. So now, whether he agreed to do it or not, I don't know. But miraculously, right after, he got a heart attack, a stroke, or whatever, and he was a vegetable for a few years. Now, this can easily be, and I don't have enough information, so I don't want to say. If I say something, it's after I checked it 1,000 times and I have facts and proof. Here I don't have. Now we're going by facts that are not 100% validated, but there's a very good chance that he did not want to move along with this plan. And they said, okay, no problem, we're going to remove you. You are causing us a problem. You are not following our orders. Then we're going to remove you. What's the problem to inject him with some lethal chemical and he gets a heart attack or a stroke?
So it's interesting to think about the fact that he's saying like, oh, Mossad, Israeli intelligence, whoever injects him with a lethal chemical and kills him, and not it's a Kabbalistic curse, which you would think the guy who's teaching Kabbalah would be like, so they did a Kabbalistic curse and killed him. It's interesting because his position is that the Israeli rabbinate, they're kind of the leading rabbinic authorities of Israel, are part of this Erev Rav, this group of the mixed multitude that left. As he pointed out, accurately from what I can tell, indeed, the Israeli rabbinate was established by the Rothschilds and the Queen of England. And the Rothschilds were nominally Jewish. They were not observant Jews by any means. They were not religious Jews by any means. So there's some questions as to motive there. In any case, I don't think he would recognize the legitimacy of their ability to do that. That said, supposedly it was a Hasidic rabbis that did it. I'm going to research it more on my phone, and if I can get the link, I'll pull it up for you guys while he's talking.
Or whatever, and becomes a plant. How do you call it? A vegetable for whatever many years. So this is one of many examples of if somebody doesn't dance to their tune, no problem. We have many ways to remove you from the picture. But see how I get carried away with, I want to talk about the Erev Rav, I'm talking about other things. But it's sad because most people don't know what's going on around them. They cheer the leaders and they don't even understand that the whole system, and it's not only in Israel, it's everywhere, it's every country. You think you vote for your government. You don't vote for anything. You voted for Bennett. Bennett had 6 mandats.
Oh, that's why I didn't say it, because I have to correct myself. Apparently it was used against Yitzhak Rabin. Oh, and Ariel Sharon. Okay, hold on. There's an article here. I'll pull it up. I'm going to look more. It says this guy, Yosef Dayan, who with rabbinical guidance was involved in the Pulsa Denura of Yitzhak Rabin and Ariel Sharon.
Mandatim, that's 200,000. How he became a prime minister? Bibi has 35 mandatim, and he's not prime minister. Can you explain that to me? Not that I'm in favor.
Again, this is Israeli politics, these mandates. It's like electoral votes, what he's talking about.
Favor either one of them. Zet zen vela v'zet trefa, as they say. I'm going to translate that, but the point is, I'm not in favor in either one of them. How did Bennett, with 6 mandatim, gets to be a prime minister? Doesn't even make sense. So your people think they vote for somebody. It's all one big hoax and one big scam. So to go back to our topics, I have to calm down, put the air conditioning on. But it's annoying. Sometimes it's annoying. You sit on the side, you see what's going on, you see how people are fooled, and if you come and point out, the king is naked, I don't know if it's a term in English, "Melech hu erom," the king is naked, what are you doing? People look at you like, where did you come out from? But people need to understand what's going on, and it's very important for us to understand what's going on, because that's the only way how we can start welcoming and paving a path for Mashiach to come. Because if we're fooled by the government, we're not going to believe the man that's going to come and says, "I'm Mashiach."
Sorry, Mashiach is Messiah.
Mashiach. And he's going to be fooled and ridiculed too. And I'm saying that as a side note, by the way, and I'm saying in all the classes, what I'm saying now is for all mankind. It has nothing to do with the Jew or non-Jew. Just the other day, somebody talked to me. They're doing some campaign. I don't remember. I don't know all the details right now, but it has to do with non-Jews. They came to ask me my opinion if I can participate, and I said I've been saying for years that we need to bring millions of non-Jews on board. Millions. And what's the big problem? We're bringing 100 to 200 million Gentiles. We have 7 billion. All you need to get is 100, 200 million on board, and we're going to be in good shape. So the information has nothing to do with the Jew or non-Jew. It's for everybody. With that said, let's go back. So we said that the Zera Amalek, the first kind is Amalek. That's the leaders of the world, with an exception. There can always be exceptions, but in general, any leader you put your hand on, if he's not directly Amalek, he's definitely controlled by Amalek. End of story. No leeways here. There's not such a thing. Oh, maybe so-and-so was... No. Has to be an Erev Rav. And a lot of people will say, what about Trump? I'm not going to say anything about Trump right now. Because a lot of people think...
He's not going to say anything about Trump ever, because a lot of his money comes from Trump supporters, if I'm being super real. So I have all these articles on Pulsa Denura here. The current take on the existing Kabbalists is that there's no such thing as Pulsa Denura in the Torah, in the Old Testament. This is the curse that has supposedly killed at least one, if not two, Israeli prime ministers. This is the curse. So they say that there's no precedent for it in there's no precedent for it in the Torah or in the Old Testament, in the scriptures. And also, I'm a Kabbalist and I never heard of it, is what they say. And they say the way they're talking about fasting and the using the black candles and all that stuff, they say sounds fake. I've never heard of it. Also, I will also say that in theoretical Kabbalah, Pulsa Denura is a term that I posted about just the other day. Pulsa Denura, lashes of fire, refers to the lines on the top of certain letters. Okay? It's a whole other thing when you're doing the calligraphy. This is Moses speaking now, not referring to any sources. In my own research, I see this is the big divide between Kabbalah Inuyit, theoretical Kabbalah, and Kabbalah Masi, the practical Kabbalah. Because in the lineage of Kabbalah Inuyit, all those terms become applied to the letters and the theory and all that, and they're true. Fucking 100%. What I've studied of that is amazingly true. But because Kabbalah Inuyit technically is still not open to me for another month and a couple weeks when I turn 40, Kabbalah Masi, it's what I've been teaching myself. It's forbidden, but whatever. The other guy said no, so what am I going to do? So, Kabbalah Masi, there's a whole different lineage. And in that lineage, when you get to guys like the last Baal Shem, the last master of the holy name, the last one who is said could use the 72 names of gods to perform miracles, it's not that long ago. This is Dr. Samuel Falk in London in the 19th century, like 200 years ago. Sounds like a long time for sure, but like there was already writing, there was already printing, like a lot of important technological mechanisms to keep records were already in place that weren't in place a few thousand years ago, right? So Dr. Falk, this guy's writing, he's the last recognized Baal Shem, and Gentiles were recognizing him. He wasn't very especially recognized in the Jewish community. But in the journals of him and his assistant, which I have reprinted here, one of those print-on-demand type things. It's not cost a pretty penny, but it's dope. In the journals, it says that these are exactly the types of rites he was doing. Again, it's 200 years ago. It's not theoretical Kabbalah, but And if you look at the history of practical Kabbalists, the kind of guy you would hire to do a curse for you like that, or break a curse like that, it looks a lot like what they're describing in the Pulsa de Nura. So now, this gives me pause for thought, right? Because the natural inclination is to say, well, those are European influences on Jewish magic. The articles I've read on Falk, and I don't mean like newspaper articles, I mean like journal. Not a lot of guys know about this. Not a lot of people know about this guy, and the ones who do are generally scholars of this thing. So I've read the scholarly articles written on Falk, and it seems like he, to the contrary, influenced Western occultists. That all those Freemasons and stuff were learning from Falk, and there's direct records. They would all go see Dr. Falk. Dr. Falcon, they called him sometime, which is, by the way, like, probably my new rap name. Anyway, I know you guys didn't want to hear me. You want to watch this thing, so here we go.
Think that he was the savior of the world, which again, I have nothing against Trump. But when I'm saying all the
Also, now you know why I have so many tabs open.
leaders are Erev Rav, then maybe a lot of people will say, hey, whoa, he's saying Trump was also Erev Rav. Here I will refrain from saying anything. But as I said, the Erev Rav runs the show. So even if one, as they say, tzaddik echad b'Sdom, one righteous person in Sodom, it doesn't mean that he has a hand. It means that he can easily be crushed, controlled, manipulated. So
Sodom, as he said, is Sodom, right? One righteous man in Sodom, referring to Sodom and Gomorrah that were destroyed for their wickedness.
And I'm sure in every government there's always some pious individual. He's going to be stepped on in a second, or bribed, or ridiculed, or threatened, or something. Let's move on. The second type, we said, these were the Nephilim, the angels that liked the girls in the land.
So again, what we're actually learning about is these 5 categories. The first are the Anakim, the mighty men. Sorry, not the mighty men. Those are Giborim. The giants who rule the world, right? Anakim. The second, now we're talking about, is Nephilim. This is what we talked about yesterday. These are the fallen angels, right? These are the angels that God, when God went to create man, he said, I'm going to give man command over you. And the angels were like, no. And God said, why not? And the angel said, well, because man is imperfect and will sin. And God said, listen, if you were down in the material form, you would sin as well. And the angels said, no. Well, 2 of the angels were like, no, we wouldn't. And God was like, all right, listen, here's your shot. And put them down in the material form. And they became so enthralled by the sight of Earth's women, and the daughters of Adam. Not Earth's women, by the daughters of Adam. They were enthralled, became impassioned, and lusted after them. And they... seems like they stepped down from their angelhood, as he said, right? Like they turned over their angelhood and were like, you know what? Actually, we'll take this. We'll take this lower form. We're cool with this. As a result of that decision, first of all, being wrong about Adam, and second of all, committing the sin themselves, God then chained them. Oh, sorry, not God. Let me actually give a translation. The Most Holy, Kodesh Baruch Hu. Yeah, the Holy One, blessed be He. Chained them at the bottom, shackled them in the bottom of the earth with chains of iron, or not the bottom of the earth, lamata, at the lowest level with chains of iron, and simultaneously they were, supposedly still bound there, but they had 30,000 offspring that have been reincarnated over and over and over again, were reincarnated at the time of the Tower of Babel, were the ones in charge of contesting with God and building the Tower of Babel, are reincarnated now. They are the perverts, like extreme perverts. The word here used is adulterers, and we looked at what adultery meant. It frankly doesn't fit in this context, and that can't be the right word, but it's generally like people who are just, that's their thing. Sex is their thing. And that's who they're saying are the Nephilim. So we'll keep going. And the ones who propagate the normalization, like sexualization of society, normalization of that, etc.
And they decided not to be angels anymore, and they brought all this klipa of promiscuity.
Klipa is like a shell, a husk, it's like what a cicada leaves behind.
And all this disgusting behavior, and we will title it, the Nephilim are all the adulterers. So in our generations, it's rapists and molesters and child molesters and everything that has to do with that. Like somebody said last class, like Epstein. So, and it's probably with everybody. I don't think that there's some tzaddikim in the elite that they're happily married. It's all the same junk. In Hebrew it's called noafim, the adulterers, because everything that's on their mind is just this disgusting behavior. And I explained in length last class what is it, how is it manifesting. With this said, let's go to the third type. And if you want to follow, we're reading from the Zohar, the book of Bereshit. This is Akdamat Zohar, page 25b.
So again, that's the Zohar, the book of Genesis. This is the Hakdama, the proto-Zohar, or the early Zohar, I think is what they sometimes call it. And he's giving you the page.
The line starts with Giborim. So the first one was Amalekim. Second one was Nephilim. Now we're going with the Giborim. Giborim mina telita'a. Giborim are the third type. Now I will explain what a Gibor means, because Gibor is a hero or a brave.
Yeah, the literal translation of Gibor is hero. We see it in some names of God. We see it in the angel name of Gabriel, Gabriel, right? That's that root, GBR, Gibor. It's Gibor, heroic, courageous, mighty.
Individual, but this is not what it's referring to. I'll explain. Min hashlishi michamisha minei Erev Rav, the third species, like I told you, the Zohar is calling it a species. The third type from the Erev Rav, shenit'arbevu b'Yisrael, that they got mixed with the nation of Israel, nikraim giborim. They're called giborim. Alayu itmar, for them it was said, and this can be found in the book of Bereshit, chapter 6, verse 4.
So that's the book of Genesis 6:4.
Giborim anshei Hashem. These are the men of renown, mighty men. That's how the translation says. And again, you can complete my sentence. I don't like the translations, but nevertheless, go into book of Bereshit, chapter 6, verse 4, and it says, Hema Giborim Anshe Hashem, the men of renown. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, R-E-N-O-W-N, renown, right?
And for reference, my Bible has it. The Nephilim were then on the earth. We just heard about those guys, right? And afterward as well, the sons of God, having come to bed with the daughters of man, we just heard about that, right? Who bore them children. They were angels, so they were the sons of God. Then they are the heroes of the men of renown, right? So there we go.
Mighty men. Lefi shayu giborim umordim b'makom. Why are they called giborim? Because they would be brave and might to rebel against God. Okay, I'm not going to use the word I was about to say. You know what guts you need to go against God? You maybe can guess what's the word that I was about to say. But you know what guts you need to rebel against God? I would be shaking in my pants to rebel against God. So they were called mighty men and heroes because they had the chutzpah. Forget about the chutzpah. They had the guts to fight against God, to fight and to rebel. Ve'inun, and these group of people, ha'erev Rav, nikreu giborim, they were called giborim, hem anshei Hashem, the people who goes against the master of the universe, lefi sheshorosh nishmatam nimshechu misitra de'ilen, the root of their soul came from the same generation of dispersion. In
The exact translation is not the same generation. Sitra is side, from the same side as these others. So, there's the idea that they're, well, we could talk about that another time.
short, if you remember, I said Amalek already preceded, the root comes before the world was created. The Giborim and the Nephilim came around that time. If you remember, I told you from the generation of Enosh. And the Giborim came as they're rooted in the generation
Enosh
of the
is Enoch.
dispersion. Some call it the
Enosh is Enoch.
generation of the Tower of Babylon. Same thing. They went against God. They rebelled against God. The Itmar Bahon, as it says about them, Hava nivne lanu ir v'na'aseh lanu shem. Let's build us a tower. We'll build us, first of all, a city, a Vatican or a Washington, D.C., something like that. Because they say, let's build us a city. ונעשה לנו שם, and we'll build this tower, and we're going to go and fight against the master of the universe. Now, where do you come up with that plan? But nevertheless, רצה לומר, saying in other words, כי כמו שתכלית בניית המגדל הייתה לעשות להם שם, they wanted to build a monument. I don't know if you noticed, but in all the major capitals, you have the obelisk, this big tower.
And you guys know we took during Mystery Babylon, and then when Bezos did the rocket and all that, we've done multiple deep dives into the obelisk, the symbolism of that, the phallus, all that.
Right? I don't want to call it a tower. I don't want to call it what it really is, huh? What? Yeah, I'm not going to say what I think, what they're trying to show, but in DC and many other places, DC is not part of America. Like Caesarea is not part of Israel, by the way. This is another thing. People think Caesarea belongs.
Caesarea is the Israeli city of Caesarea. It's like a state region of it's called Caesarea.
Belongs to the Israeli guy. It doesn't. Caesarea belongs to the Rothschilds. They don't pay Arnona there, by the way. Arnona is the city taxes. In Caesarea, there's no Arnona because it doesn't go to the country. But nevertheless, same thing with DC and many other places, by the way, in the world, like Vatican.
That's interesting. A lot of people travel to Caesarea, because there's like duty-free shit that's going on there, and apparently they don't pay tax to the government. Wow.
Vatican doesn't belong to Italy. Rome doesn't belong to Italy. It's a private place. Same thing here. They wanted to make themselves a city. What was the idea? Is to build this tower and to make themselves a name. Now, what does it mean to make myself a name? Shehu avodah zara. This is idolatry. They wanted to create this tower to perform idolatry. What does it mean, idolatry? To serve not the master of the universe.
Let me put in here. To make themselves a name is a really fucking loaded term in the Zohar, right? Because to make a name, that's to create a new being. To create a new being. Add something to the plan. Like add something to the source code, right? What we do is we execute the source code, right? There's these things, and maybe it's not published parts of the source code. Maybe we found some little hacks, and we can find this, make this work, do that. But we don't add to the source code. The names exist. We just pronounce them. Yeah. So they're gonna make themselves a name. That's something. Or so either make a name for themselves, meaning literally create a new name that they can use. That's quite a ritual. Or make themselves one of the names, right? Like add their name to the list, which is an interesting access upgrade.
You can serve a piece of wood, you can serve whatever you want. You're not serving the master of the universe. That's avodah zara, idolatry. Berosh HaMigdal, where did they want to do it? Especially on the top of the mountain. Like on a Sears building, the Twin Towers, the Empire State, whatever it is, however they call these towers, let's put it on the top. So we're like as close as possible to kind of annoy Hashem, do it in his face.
You know, to the highest place. It's interesting also to add in the historic context that we know that the Chaldeans, these are the people we're talking about, were building these huge things to have more clear views of the stars. More clear views of the stars. And we'll expand on this in the ideas of stars and angels and all this shit, names, all that later on.
להיות להם לכבוד ולתפארת. To make themselves honor, respect, and glorify their name. And that's what they do in our generation too. So they build a tower. Here, let's see what's the next height they can build a tower. What's going to be the largest tower in the world? So New York has the Empire State, and then came the Twin Towers, and then the other tower that they're calling, what are they calling it? The Peace Tower, the Nonsense Tower, and the rest of it. And then they go and create, okay, let's see where we can create a tower. For whatever reason, in their distorted mind, that is showing might and power.
Part of the where we can create a tower thing is only so many places on Earth can physically support buildings that large, such as with the pyramid, right? The Great Pyramid of Giza is in one of 3 places on the Earth that can support its weight. They say Solomon's Temple is at the center of the weight in the world. It's a phenomenal feat of the old science of geometry and geography to locate that point on the Earth and to, put something so heavy and so big that it could not stand elsewhere. And certainly the old Masons like this is quite the game, right?
כמו כן, הערב רב עושים כמעשיהם. The same thing. This is what the Erev Rav do up until today. In the olden days, at the time of the generation of dispersion,
And also this gets into the idea of ley lines, lines of power in the earth that can support the weight. Sorry.
build us a city and we'll build a tower. Why? So we can perform idolatry. Serve our master, not the master of the universe, to serve whatever master they want to serve, but mainly to show off, to show might and strength and so forth. And this is really what governments and countries do in our generation, going back even 2,000 years, showing power. The Roman Empire, they wanted to show power. We control. We are the powerful here. We have money. We have the might. And any other empire. And the Erev Rav does the exact same acts. דבנין בתי כנסיות ומדרשות ושביה בהון ספר תורה ועטרה על רשוי. I don't know if I should even translate it, because it's saying the Erev Rav build themselves synagogues, בתי מדרשות, big yeshivot, ושבያን בהון ספר תורה. Let's put a ספר Torah in there. ועטרה על ראשוי. Making them look like we're the heads of the yeshiva, the head of the community.
Yeshiva's like where I went to school, Jewish Academy of Torah Learning and things.
The head of the shul. שזהו דוגמת המגדל. This is equivalent to the tower that they built at the generation of dispersion. ולה לשמדה וי"ק ו"ק. Money I have. How much strength.
So Yud Ke Vav Ke is what you hear in the thing. That is an obfuscation of Yud He Vav He, which is how we spell the name of God, which we never pronounce because it's unpronounceable. So he said Hashem, which is the name, which is what you say instead of the name of God, which is what most Jews call God.
I have. How much I'm in control. אלא, rather, כל כוונתם למעבד לון שם. All their intention is to acquire themselves a name. I built this building. You know, I went once in one of my tours to America, I went to a big city, and there was this massive shul that they invited me there to speak there, and also they...
Shul is a synagogue.
Made a whole Shabbat, there was a Shabbaton there. And you look at the shul, you're like, when I went there the first time with the person who took me, I was like, I never seen such a, what is this? This is some piece of real estate. And he told me how the background of the shul is, in terms like guy sitting, I don't want to give too much information. It was one guy who was kicked out of one shul. So he went and built this shul for about $30 million just to show the other one, and took half of the people with him, with putting them in key positions. You'll be the gabbai, you'll be this, you'll be that, you'll be the rabbi. But just to kind of show off to the other shul that I have more money. I will build a nicer shul, bigger. Now, a lot of people, it's more comfortable to sit in a comfortable chair than a plastic chair. So they go to the fancy shul. And of course, when there's money, they'll bring better food, better meals, speakers, and so forth. Now, in all, you think, the regular person thinks it's all Hashem Shamayim. It's for the sake of Hashem. No.
Hashem Shamayim is...
Nothing. And the whole shul was built just for showing strength and might. And when I asked the person who built the shul, who is he here? He never comes here. He doesn't even observe Shabbat. It's only to say, see, I built the building. No, sorry, I skipped a line, sorry. למעבד לון שם. All this is to build themselves a name and a reputation, כדי להיות חרב בידם, in order for that to be like a sword in their hand, לעשות חפצם ורצונם, that they are in control, to do their desire, להתגבר על העם, in order to control the people.
For the builders, the free builders, maybe.
It is. בונים חופשיים is Freemasons. See, it doesn't fit well when you say it in Hebrew and English. בוני המגדל, the ones who built the buildings, right? These are referring to the Freemasons, the Bonim HaChofshim. People don't understand that the Freemasons are not the ones who they put in the front line. The other day somebody told me, why are you bad-mouthing this wonderful organization? It's good men, it's respectful and honorable men. They're lawyers and judges and businessmen and so forth, and they want to get better. I said, yeah, that's what's in the front line. You know, there's a series on Netflix that it's called The Freemasons. It's So somebody sent me to look at it. I looked at the first 5 minutes to see, this is not about the Freemasons. This is like an image video by Netflix, who is run, owned, and managed by the Illuminati, to show how great the organization is. It's not. It's not what it is. So they're showing real people. Oh, yeah, we heard of that. You know, so now they fooled 3 billion people. That when you tell them the Freemasons are, you know, how do you call it? I don't know how you call it even in English. Secret society or whatever. So people says, what are you talking about? It's a good organization. It's good people. Okay, so they have some weird dresses. No, that's what they put in the front line. So people will think that it's nice and humanitarian and so, but behind the scenes, people don't even know what's going on there. Even a lot of the Freemasons that are in the front line, which are in the lower levels, they don't know what's going really on, or what's going on. But nevertheless, here the Zohar says clearly that when they said we'll build ourselves a name, Dugmat Bonei Migdal. This is the example of the ones who build the tower. V'lachen hem nikaim Anshei Shem, and they are called people of Anshei Shem, renowned people, the men of renown and mighty men and so forth. But in our days, you know, a lot of people who have money, and I'm talking about billions, not millions, sometimes what they acquire or build is just to show how I have money. And I've been to many places around the world where people with a lot of money, that for them $500 million is nothing. It's not even money. They would build things or acquire things or control things just to show I'm the boss. As they say, money talks and it walks. I run the show with my might. Same thing. Same thing here, by the way. So here he's saying something very extreme. He's saying the same root of the Erev Rav, they're doing it with shuls and with yeshivot. Now,
that they're doing it with synagogues and institutions of Jewish learning.
I can tell you, this is where a lot of people are going to be unhappy. But I saw with my own eyes the corruption in all these establishments.
Yeah, we've been running about half an hour. We'll pause it here, I think. And we'll pick it up here tomorrow, of course. Unless I'm on the road tomorrow. If I'm on the road tomorrow, then we won't pick it up here. But next time we'll pick it up here. I'll just obviously leave this tab open, as is my custom. Do I have another YouTube tab open, though? That's the question. Nope. Time for another one. No, I have another window open for this. I'm quite sure. Where did that tab open? Uh-oh. Okay. This is where you go to another browser, see? There you go. Boom. Then go to this one. I knew I had it open. It's time to meditate, y'all. So we did a new one this time. Oh, but this window's not up for you guys. All right, I just got to change that. Okay, not a problem. That's easily doable. So we did a different meditation this week. Well, it's something we've played with before. I'm going to bring it up for you guys here. Oops. No, we want that back. What's that? Yep. I don't know, man. All right. I don't know how to close this browser window. Let's see. Oh, that's nothing. Let's see. Boom. Got it. Okay, cool. Give me a sec here. I'll add the binaural beat for you guys. If you knew how many notepads I had open right now, it's a lot. That's why I needed the new computer. I really had to. I don't know how to run them light anymore. Binaural beat, theta wave right on top. There we go. How about them apples? Let's bring that down so we can at least see me. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. There we go. Just gonna play the binaural beat. Sweet. Excellent. Got it done. Well, meditation time. So we've been doing this new meditation. Focusing on the energetic field, and this was the best diagram I could find of it after a whole bunch of searching, and I can't find it not fuzzy. So you got to imagine this spiraling thingy on the right here, okay, as being three-dimensional. It's shown two-dimensionally, flatly here, but it's actually three-dimensional, so it's kind of like, you know, but in round, it's like a sphere, right? It comes out of your center. It is layered like this. And so you can kind of see how it has these different layers, these bands. I can kind of try to indicate it with my mouse here. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. These like bands. And they're much tighter in your body. It's kind of harder to notice. So we start the meditation out here on the surface of the skin to sort of feel the electromagnetic field here. And if you want help stimulating it, you can, of course, rub your hands, rub all over, and then feel, right, that little field. Or, as we learned in the Qigong thing, you can start with that, or I should say, and you can start with that, and then do kind of this with your hands, and put your fingernails together, and rapidly and kind of hard push them against each other. Kind of, it's a little bit uncomfortable how hard you do it, but so they're clicking like this. You can kind of hear that electric thing. And you do that for a little while, and then you can really feel an electric field between your hands. But so, like, bringing your attention to the layer of that field, which is, again, roughly analogous to sort of the layer that's right above your skin, and becoming highly aware of that field and its sort of frequency, and then starting to play with trying to have an influence on it. Right? Like, ultimately, you want to be able to expand it, contract it, all this stuff. But really, in 10 minutes here, we're just going to become aware of it, and best case scenario, we're going to have some input on it by will of our conscious mind. One of the keys is to keep your body as completely relaxed as possible. That means notice, I will say you will kind of naturally come to acknowledge the areas you have relaxed. The areas that you are having difficulty relaxing, which 100% of us will have, will escape our attention. And so we kind of have to ask ourselves, which areas am I not in touch with right now? Which areas do I not have a very explicit command and control relationship, right? Where they're reporting to you and you're aware of what's going on there, and it's telling you, what's going on. And if there's a part of your body where you don't have that, you probably need to relax it. And it probably has jammed up or forgotten how to relax. And so the best thing to do is focus very hard in your mind on that part of your body, and then also focus very, very, very hard on relaxing. Okay? Like you can picture opening a fist, any image of relaxation that helps you. But I like to think of squeezing. And so when you engage with that part of your body, think of squeezing. I'm doing it with my back here right now, and relaxing. And you can do it with your hand. You don't have to do it with your hand. You can picture just your hand doing it, and it's actually pretty damn effective. But so you're going to kind of audit and scan through your body and locate that field moving at the surface of your body and tune into the resonance of it. And the trick to moving it all has to do with resonance and has to do with frequencies and the principles of all that. That is how you manipulate it effectively. Personally, I am still learning that, right? So to get there, the exercises I'm doing, the exercises I'm sharing, are becoming aware of the field, becoming aware of its resonance, and then starting to get myself to resonate with it by being receptive. But for 10 minutes, even if we just become kind of aware of the energetic field that extends, and it's scientifically provable, we all have this. It extends out from our body. Maybe I'll show some of these other. I think I had some other diagrams up here. Let's see. That's just the same diagram. No, that's the same diagram. Gazillion of the same diagram. There's this dude. It doesn't quite do it. But bodies, EMF field. I think this is just going to be a bunch of self-flow. Oh no, here we go. Not bad. Kind of this thing, right? This thing's going on. It's just all those different layers, right? This represents it, but certainly doesn't demonstrate it. This one's pretty good. I like this. And then we did a deep look at this. This one's not bad. This is kind of old school one. This is the one I saw when I was, growing up, whatever. But nowadays, now there's all this lab research done on it, and we can actually image this stuff, right? Like this kind of thing. That leads to something like this toroidal field. So There you go. A little more learning before we get into our meditation today. Yeah, the image clarity, I'm just looking back at chat, Snow Off the Bluff. The image clarity is kind of shit. But hopefully you get the idea of what I'm talking about. That we have that field it is undoubtedly there. But just like with everything, we kind of tune it out. Like we tune out gravity. You don't know about gravity till you're not feeling gravity. Till you feel a change in gravity, then you know about gravity. With health, what does a healthy body feel like? It kind of feels like nothing. As I think there's a saying, a comfortable belt is the belt you don't feel, or you don't feel a comfortable belt. It's so true. So like a healthy body is a body you don't. What does it feel like? It escapes your general attention. Now, if should any pain, discomfort, problem come into that sphere, it will capture your attention. However, if it will persist long enough, your attention will build like a buffer around it. You'll still feel it for sure, but it's not constantly in your attention the way it was originally. So these are just some thoughts of kind of how this principle works. So this is something we constantly feel, and when our field gets excited, get the chills. Right? You're doing spiritual work. You're praying. You're at your ancestor altar, praying for your ancestors, and you get the chills. There you go. That's a change in the field. You meet a person and you're electrified. Change in the field. So all these things, once we become more aware of them, we can start to connect them, and they're not just these weird, like, hey, I felt this weird way. We start to understand, I felt that the amplitude was increased or decreased, or the frequency was increased or decreased, around this person or that person or this situation, that situation, and then it becomes a lot more sensible. Things that don't make sense all make sense. So, except the things that make sense start not making any sense. Things that quote unquote make sense. Well then, 10 minutes on the timer. Any questions about the meditation, go ahead and drop them in the chat for me as I pull it up. My timer. Got it here. 10 minutes. Checking in on chat. Cool. Looks like everyone's got it. It looks like we got a really good crowd today. Well, I'll go through and do shout-outs while we're waiting. Shout out Commander Root. Welcome, as always, becoming quite the regular. Thank you, sir. Curly Q 0929. Good to see you again. Ice Wizards. Maybe a first time, maybe a new name. Cool name. Cool to see you here. Lady Stardust, welcome. Misery Pimp, welcome. Serious IRC, welcome back. I know you're not an everyday, but you're a semi-reg. You're a reg, but it seems like a scheduling thing, so I'm glad you could catch us. Snow Off the Bluff, good to see you again. And of course, Solomon, Sticky Nine Blade, welcome back. All right, cool. So everyone seems to know what we're doing here. No one's asked questions, objected otherwise. Cool. For the binaural beat, because there's some first-timers here. Headphones are recommended. If you can't use headphones, I don't know. I feel like I get a good effect from the speakers too. I will also say that is very optional in this one. I find for myself doing this one, the binaural beat is not helpful. Some people really prefer it. So the key is mute, plug in headphones and take them off, maybe, or just mute if you don't want the binaural beat. I'm just providing that for people who do want to use it. I myself will not be using it. So yeah, let's see how this goes. You know what? I'll try it for a couple minutes with the beat, and then I'll try off, because actually I got a lot of good feedback on it. My experience wasn't good, but maybe I was kind of a little off yesterday. Let's go. And beat's going, timer's going. Here we go. How'd that go for everybody? I don't know if you heard my kids playing in the background. I sure did. That's funny. Let me turn off the beat. There we go. Maybe I'll get a bell to bring you guys out of meditation, since it's not just me talking. It's probably a little much. But yeah, how'd that go? How'd everyone feel about that one? I guess is what I want to ask. Ooh, that was a good one for me. I'm still very much buzzing. It's not just the energy drink. That one is an exercise of a different capacity than the other ones we practice. Let's see who's still here. Snow off the Bluff, some of the most fun I've ever had. Listen, I don't recommend that anyone is ever incarcerated for any amount of time. But if you are now, you know what to do. Cool. Some first timers, it looks like. Yeah, you can get some interesting places. You'll find that you may start what they call astral traveling. Your imagination, just all of a sudden you're in some weird scene with someone you know or someone you don't know, and you're just watching that kind of thing. And you may have to reel yourself back, because that has you activate different frequencies, different weird harmonic shit happens. But you're practicing exactly what you need to practice, right? You're practicing controlling that, and it's something that I think everyone experiences. That's really funny, LSD. That me exactly the same thing. That's really funny. Towards the end, maybe the last minute or two. Oh, so that's interesting. Snow off the Bluff. Yeah, I mean it's with everything, right? When you look at how like elite athletes train, so much about it is like learning for them to pay real good attention to their bodies as they're doing it, and then also giving them the tools that'll like actually measure, the electrical signaling level and stuff, so they can, because they know what it feels like, but then you having another measurement of it kind of helps you put two and two together in a way. And so I think that's kind of what this exercise does. And this all, just as the other exercises that we do, the apple particularly trains sort of the active and passive forms of the imagination. This very much plays with that area where that imagination intersects with material reality. Very, very, very much. The thing about imagination is it does not mean pretend. Right? Imagination is when you create an image, hold an image, and then project an image. Right? That's active imagination, something like that. So, as I like to say, there's a difference. Kids imagine they're dragons. Grown-ups pretend they're dragons. The kid really is a dragon. Well, the kid's a dragon. The grown-up is just going through the motions to make the kid happy. So, training imagination, and there's all sorts of research on these different hormones, the theta state, all this. That's why we're using the theta waves and all this other stuff that kind of help us get there. This is just a different mode that the brain can get into, and now we're probably all in this like more buzzy, dreamy state. I feel a little bit more like kids. That's why I like to do it before we wrap up here. But lest we forget here. Not only forget, but save the best for last, in my opinion. Let us offer our prayer for today. All buzzy, hopefully still, yeah? Today, let us give our thanks and open ourselves, open our hearts, and attune our very present vital frequencies to the eternal source from which we are derived, of which we are an expression. Through our connection to that source, may we be opened to our infinite capacity, and may we drink. In our openness, may we be full, and being full, may we come to see differently each day and each moment of each day. See ourselves and others in the world around us more in accord with the truth. May we act and know and speak more in accord with the truth. May we inspire others to seek the truth, to act in accord with it, to live in accord with it. And may we collectively bring a combined presence that manifests our love for one another, for all of creation, for the source of creation. May we realize that we are part of that love, an essential piece of that love. May we realize that that divine and cosmic love running through us, just like our energetic field, is noticeable if we tune into it. May we be drawn to tune into that spark or that thread of divinity within us. May we know it as our truest self. And may it guide us through our many other selves. And through the many other selves we perceive to a fuller realization, now and always. And may we all say, Amen. I want to add an additional prayer for safety on my journey. That the one who watches over me and watches over this temple, watch over me on this journey, deliver me with blessings, and help me to bear with me the names and reputations of the souls of every member of this temple, to receive blessings at every stop and station of my journey. May they be seen as favored in taking the journey with me, in their support of me in this. Amen. Everybody, thank you as always for tuning in. It's a blast. You guys are the best. I thank you. I bless you and love each and every one of you. I hope you continue in your journey, wherever that takes you. I'll catch you guys flip side. Shark attack. It doesn't even show me that you're in here, bro. You want to take a road trip? You probably got work. Fuck. Well, anyone local who wants to take a pilgrimage, you know, it is a pilgrimage, but you don't even need to really throw down. Like, the temple's paying for it. So let me know. Check in within the next couple hours if you're interested. Oh, shark attack. All right. Sweet, bro. Sweet. I'll message you. All right. Cool, everyone. Peace. I will maybe catch you tomorrow. I will maybe not. Again, it's going to depend on whether they allow me to film and all that good jazz.